coming to the zone here. 10 back. 5. Green, green, green.
Hello and welcome back to the Hot Lap, your home for everything INRS racing. I'm Clarke Franz, driver of the number 15 Chevrolet Camaro for Roadrunner Motorsports.
I'm Tony Japs, driver of the number 42 Chevrolet Camaro for Apex Motorsports.
I'm Vernon Brabeck, driver of number 10 Chevrolet Camaro for Roadrunner Motorsports.
Corey Bunch, 77, Full Throttle Motorsports.
This week we are once again honored to have a guest on the show. This time it's someone who's been here twice before, but as a fill-in co-host. I'm excited we can dive in this time into Michael Whitley's background and get to know him a bit more. Michael, pleasure to have you on the show and congrats on the race win.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good to be here as a guest. I was starting to wonder what donut shop I had to go to bribe you to be a guest.
Who says I like donuts? What would give it away? Yeah. Well, the win could not have come at a better time for you. First one for the season, and you saved it for the playoffs. Just how you drew it up, probably.
Yeah.
Go ahead and walk us through that race.
Once again, we've gone into another fuel mileage race. It seems like it's gotten bad here lately. It just seems like we, from the drop of the green flag, we're immediately saving, and that whole first little kind of stint, I was at the tail end of everything because of poor qualifying, and then I think there was a massive checkup behind me, and they lost the draft, and it's hard to save fuel when you're the last car on the lead lap. At the end of the pack, because you have nobody behind you to kind of push you so you can run partial throttle. But yeah, we ran good. You kind of bounced back and forth, kind of around the middle most of the time. Average position of 11th running. But then we kind of got some long green flag runs after the stage, and Wenzel and I hooked up, and we were in the same pack with Booth and with Vernon and Tyler Lim and a few others, and we all pit together. It was like 8 of us, and I think 5 of the 8 sped. So it came out like me, Wenzel, and Corey Ennis were the only 3 out there, and then we got a caution. I'm like, oh, well, we're screwed now, and then worked itself out there that I had the lead on the last restart with 3 to go and had Corey Ennis behind me, and he ran a hell of a defense. And I don't know if it was like kind of a low-key return in the favor from the spring Xfinity Atlanta race where he wrecked me, but I greatly appreciate it. I owe the win to him 100% and a little bit to Tony.
You talked about that pit stop and, about 5 of them speeding. I think we might have one of those speeders here on the podcast. Is that right there, Vernon?
Yeah, but before we get into that, let's dissect your race and your incident with Jacob Mossow.
Yeah, I figured we'd get to that point. Yeah, I mean, it's completely on me. There's no way around that. I was racing on the outside, and we had gone a decent bit of laps at that point. We were getting close to time to pit or time to really go into save mode, and I came off of turn 4. I got just a little loose, and before I could save it, I was already into the side of Jacob Mossow. Ran out of talent. I mean, nothing else to really say there. So I went ahead while I was getting my 8 minutes required. I went ahead and got onto Discord. I apologized to Jacob. He told me, he was pissed, but he appreciated the apology, and no bad blood between the two of us. But man, I just hate that I went from, he was 1 point over the cut line, and I put him 12 below. And knowing that I had a hand in that makes me feel crappy since I'm not a playoff driver. But at the end of the day, it wasn't intentional. It just happened.
Good Lord, you wrecked a moose?
They're like the nicest people.
Right?
Man.
I know. They don't get it like...
I know.
Not all Canadians are nice.
Was it Jacob? Was it Jacob that ran me into Whitley?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm just now connecting the dots there. It was long-awaited payback. No, I'm just kidding. Because I didn't even need to get payback. That was Whitley's issue, not mine. But back to your spot, Broadbeck. I'm gonna shine the spotlight away from me and back at you. What was up with like 5 of you speeding
Okay,
there?
so Tyler was leading when we went into on pit road. Jordan had just passed me a couple laps before because I kind of got it in the wall, lost a little bit of momentum, and honestly, I was perfectly fine with it because it allowed me to just kind of ride there without having to push Tyler. And at that point, we were already losing lap times because I couldn't generate runs off the corner to get to his bumper, so we were losing a little bit of time there, which that was fine. So I was third in line getting on a pit road, and we all got on a pit onto the back stretch and down under the apron going into 3 and 4 because that's where you have to enter to get on pit road. You can't enter pit road coming off of the track on out of turn 4, which I completely understand being now a super speedway style track. But we all got on pit road perfectly fine. I actually fell a little bit behind the two, and I told myself, I was like, just do your thing. You practice getting on pit road 20 times between the week and practice that day. You knew exactly where you needed to start braking, and I watched those two kind of start driving away. So I kind of, instead of continue to slow down, I just kind of let it hang. I didn't really hit the brake. I just kind of coasted, and before I know it, the line came out of nowhere. I saw the pit road speed pop up, and I saw what I was doing, and Jordan said he was 5 over when he hit the line. Yeah, I was 30 when I hit the line. I was booking it.
Jeez.
Yeah, there was no getting down in time to potentially stop myself from getting a speeding penalty. I mean, I was just trying to keep up with those two because as far as I was concerned, we were the 3 that really kind of just had it in the bag. If all 3 of us just execute that pit road and not speed, we come out. I don't say we come out super far ahead, but I mean, I think we have a decent gap on the guys that pitted behind us because I mean we were really aggressive getting on pit road, and then obviously the guys behind us, some of them, 3 others sped. I know Murphy was one of them. I don't remember who the other 2 were, but it was something crazy. They saw how aggressive we were trying to get on pit road and wanted to match that because I mean you don't want to lose track time or time on the track because you were slower getting on a pit road. So I understand it. It was just a dumb mistake on my part.
Well, if you are gonna get caught speeding, you might as well make the most of it. So 30 over, I mean, justifiable. If you're gonna get caught big, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just glad it wasn't excessive. Jordan didn't take tires, so he got out quicker than all of us, and that really kind of screwed us because when the caution come out, he got the lap back, and I had to fight Matthew Piercini was another one that got caught, Murphy, and then someone else, and I eventually got my lap back. We finished 11, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and Tony with a really strong finish after what seems like 5-6 weeks at least of a dogfight to try to stay within that playoff bubble. It doesn't put you leaps and bounds ahead of that cutoff line, but you are sitting a couple points to that cutoff line. It's looking like you had 10 incidents, though. Were you fighting a good bit of damage, or was your car still pretty clean?
The car was still pretty clean.
Well, car wasn't.
I had an incident after the flag, after the checkered flag, and then there was a netcode incident earlier in the race that it said I touched somebody and I didn't touch them. But overall we ran a decent race. We were mid-pack most of the race. Once I realized it was going to be a fuel mileage race and I wasn't going to get up to get stage points, I just tried to hang at the back of the pack just close enough to keep the draft but not have to burn a whole lot of fuel. And through a couple people spinning out and the fine people that decided to, do 100 miles an hour down pit road.
Yeah, yes. I was going 75, not 100.
Old Vernon over here doing 75 in the school zone.
45. 45. God dang it. 45, not 25. Or 20, sorry, 20.
But we started the last restart in the second row on the high side, right behind Tyler. And we got, I didn't get a good push off the start and filed in behind Corey and Michael, and the rest is history.
Well, it's a heck of a finish for you. So Hopefully you can build on that momentum as we head towards the Glen. Now Corey, our biggest fan here of super speedway style races, finished a lap down, but still in 18th place, still well above the cut line. How much did you love that race there, Corey?
Was up there in the top 5 and right there behind Whitley because I was kind of determined to be able to push Whitley to a win. And all I really remember was Scott Thomas was catching the lap car, which that was him. We all went high. Whitley stayed high. I went low. Tyler Lim came through, caught me off guard. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I wonder if he's going to try to cut me off. And then before I know it, I was turned into the wall. And I heard Wetzel say that, well, Corey just turned himself right into me. And I kept my mouth shut because I was like, there should have been more space between us. And you look at the replay, and sure enough, those space, net code stuff, which sucks. But I'm tired of and moaning about the super speedways. I'm glad we're just out of Atlanta. I'll be much better once we get out of Dega, and maybe then we'll still be in the championship hunt. But yeah, I was. I know the first part of the race sucks because again, fuel mileage. Wonderful of that right there because that's been the topic of the whole super speedway excitement and drama and all that other. So just yeah, so I've I try to forget most of it, and now I'm just starting to remember it. So thanks, guys, appreciate it.
The only thing that made this fuel strategy run really worse than any of the other ones is we didn't even get to see the strategy because I ended up wrecking somebody. So we all rode around like 3/4 throttle saving, and then it didn't matter anyways.
Yeah, but
So
if it wasn't for that wreck, it would have been the same thing.
I think that I was going to make it on fuel, and I think that a lot of the leaders up front weren't going to. I was curious what was going to happen, but it wasn't to be had, thanks to my poor driving skills. Quick interruption here. I never realized that Tyler Lim is the number 88. No, he's not. It says 99 on the.
He is the 99. It was a mistake on iRacing's part last week.
Yeah, it didn't get switched over from his Xfinity car.
Oh, because I'm looking at the Sim Racer hub, and I'm like, why is he in the 88 car? Okay. All right. Back to the original topic here. And a little bit of drama on the last lap as well with this race as Erik Jeffers got into Alex Forget. As a result, more than likely, of previous damage. And before we get into it too much, we're going to move on to Put It Out because that's going to be our first topic. So, Whitley, I don't think were you here for the first Put It Out episode?
I was not.
All right. Green, do you agree? Yellow flags, you're kind of in the middle. Red is you disagree. I'm going to give you a statement, and I'm going to start with you, Whitley, since you're the guest. And it is going to be Erik Jeffers should have served his meatball flag.
I'm gonna be indifferent on that one, just for the fact that might have been the reason that he even asked. He keyed up in the chat and was like, "Hey, I got a meatball, but I'm still running fine. Should I ask to be cleared?" I'm like, I don't think he will, but you can always ask. And heck, I'm sure if he didn't ask and receive, I'm one. We probably shouldn't be clearing meatball flags. It probably should have been questioned by Josh. But hindsight's 2020. We didn't know now what we know then. But I mean, it happens. It did cause issues. I think the only time a meatball should be cleared is if you have no more repairable damage and you continue to get a meatball flag, because that has been a glitch. I had that glitch last year. I had it again at Darlington this year. It's like it tells you no more damage. It says you everything's fixed. You go out, you run 5 laps, meatball again, you come in and there's nothing to fix. So I think that should be taken into consideration. But I don't know how Erik kept up though, because that tire was pointed to the right and he was still keeping up with the pack.
Yeah, it was cambered in pretty good. Vernon, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm yellow on that one. I benefited from it, so I really can't say I'm against it because if he does get that meatball and he doesn't take out the people that he does, I don't finish 11th. But I don't know if it should have been cleared. He still claims that, and I don't know. I didn't look to see what his steering wheel was in car when it happened. That he messed up when he got into Alex, and it wasn't because of the car. I mean, if you're running and the car's turning, and the last lap the thing just doesn't turn, or something happens, or you make a mistake, we can't tell that because your previous 5-10 laps or whatever, when he got the meatball, you ran just fine. I do like the idea that people wanted to say you get it clear, go down pit road under caution. But at the same time, I mean, you got it cleared. Why am I now being forced to go under caution, down pit road, and then I can fall a lap down because the required could be a little bit longer than what you would think it would be? I mean, you can get 4 minutes required for something stupid, and the car still run fine. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm gonna go yellow on it. I don't really think meatballs should be cleared, but at the same time, Josh made a decision on his own, and at the time it looked all right, and then until it wasn't.
I'm gonna go yellow, partially because net code off of me is what started that whole deal. But I don't necessarily think that it should have been cleared. But on the same token, if it had been real life and he was still able to keep up with the pack, I mean, hell, look at Blaney's car this weekend. Had a lot of damage. He was still able to keep up. So Erik asked, and it got cleared. I mean, if you never ask, you never know. So, I mean, no harm, no foul, right?
I think there was a bit of harm though, just not to you. But Corey,
I don't know. To be honest with you, I mean, honestly, if I'm like from my opinion about it, I wouldn't even know where I even go with this because I didn't think that was even a thing that you could get the meatball flag cleared. And like what everybody else has been saying, you never know until you ask. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess he could have just served at the end, which typically in my mind, if I saw the meatball flag, regardless if I was running fine or not, I probably would have just served it. Just judging how I've had to do it in official racing and all that, but with the league it's a little different. And like I said, I was probably all about backing up Whitley on the whole. Well, you could just ask and see what happens. It never hurts to ask, and sure enough, he had it cleared, and there he kept on going, and then he caused that wreck. so, I don't know. Because I still think he should have served the penalty or the meatball flag or whatever. But at the same time, administration, they cleared it. So I'll probably give it. I'll give it a red. He should have served it.
I'm gonna agree with you, Corey. My opinion is a red. I've been teetering between yellow and red as I'm hearing your guys' opinions. My thought is the league has been pretty consistent on if the black flags will only be cleared if it's an iRacing error. What makes me want to lean towards a yellow is because it was appealed to Josh, and I'm guessing Josh looked over the car and didn't see any obvious damage. The only way that you could see it is if you go to that camera that's by the front right rocker panel, was when you could really tell that it was jacked up. And I'm guessing he just missed that, and he thought, okay, it's an iRacing error.
Well, let me stop you there for a second. So keep in mind, try to think of whose perspective it was. I think it was Wenzel's. We watched that from when I was trying to look at the right front. I didn't see a whole lot, but when you look at the broadcast, like what I did the next day, you could definitely see how that tire was just pointing out, like it was very noticeable. So maybe it'd been one of those things on Josh's end where he probably didn't see that on his end, but for other people they could see it clear as day.
I'll agree with you on that one,
Just one of those
Corey.
iRacing deals.
I'll agree with you because Jordan's screen showed that the tire was fine. On my screen, when I looked at it, his tire was pointed to the right.
Yeah, so I think not being able to see the damage is what kind of puts me towards a yellow. If that's the case, Josh was making the best choice he possibly could have, which I've known Josh long enough in the way he runs this league. He made the best choice he thought, he could have made at the time. And I think he actually made the best choice moving forward, which was to review it, like I said, in the rule book and give him a last lap EOL. A lot of stuff would have changed if he would have had to serve that and probably go a lap or two down. But at the end of the day, realizing that something else should have been done and making the most situation is basically all you can ask for when it comes to live people making real-time decisions. So I do applaud the league for that. I know it stinks on Jeffers' part, but he didn't lose too many spots compared to where he actually finished, and he's still above the cut line. I'm still kind of bitter about not having a black flag cleared early in the year. Whitley.
Oops.
But with that, we'll move on to topic number 2 for Put It Out. We'll start with you, Corey, on this one. And it's going to be, it takes less skill to win at a restrictor plate style race.
See. I'll say yellow for the fact that it's easier with Daytona and Talladega. It was kind of difficult when it goes to Atlanta because it's shorter. You don't got a lot of space. And the only reason I end up being up in the front to begin with was for the fact of I think I had some pit strategy involved, and I just, I think I took less fuel than everybody else and was up there. And there was one incident too where I just stayed out and tried to get stage points. So, but it's a little tougher trying to get through the field if you're Atlanta, but definitely a lot easier depending on who you're pushing. Daytona and Talladega. So yeah, lesser skill for those tracks there. So, but I'd say a yellow flag on that.
Corey says yellow flag because he always ends up wrecked.
No, I'd give it a red if it was just for the sake of me getting wrecked. But no, I'm trying to be positive, Vernon. Trying to be positive.
I gotta go yellow as well because it doesn't require, I think, as much skill when it comes to saving tire, but when it comes down to being able to hold your line, being able to be pushed, being able to push without turning the guy in front of you, when you're in the lead, understanding when to throw a block, when not to throw a block, when you're in second or you're getting a run, understanding when to pull out and go or stick in line and just push the guy in front of you because there's nothing else you can do. 3 wide racing, all those things come into consideration that make it very difficult to race because, a lot of these guys, you go 3 wide, 10 cars deep, we're probably going to end up in a wreck. You go single file, 30 cars deep, we can run green the entire time. And the casing point was Daytona. It just depends on the situation. But I got to go yellow because I do think it takes a lot of skill to position yourself to get a win. But when you look at your mile and a half and your short tracks, those take more skill when it comes to managing tire. You gotta be perfect getting into the corner with the braking and then the throttle on the exit to keep your momentum. So it's hard to say. It's hard to win at any track, honestly.
I'm gonna go with yellow as well. Just for the sole fact of not necessarily at Talladega. Daytona's narrow, Atlanta's even more narrow, and that same run at Talladega or Daytona, that same run in Atlanta comes a lot quicker. It's not as easy as just holding it wide open and turning left. So you still gotta pay attention to what's going on around you. You still have to know when to make the right move because if you're at Vegas, for instance, and you make a bad move, you might lose 1 or 2 positions. If you make a bad move at one of the drafting tracks, you might lose 32 positions. So, I mean, I'm going to go with yellow.
And I saved you for last, Whitley, since you were the one who won the race. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, yellow, man, that black flag, man. I'm the most skilled guy in the league. Come on now, like that took talent to do what I did. No, I'm gonna go with everybody else. Yellow. It takes a different skill set to win a plate track. In real life, I'm a Brad Keselowski fan. He's very good on plate tracks. Denny Hamlin's very good on plate tracks. Junior was very good on plate tracks. It just takes a different skill set than it would on a 1.5 miles, on a short track, on a 2-mile track. You got to know when to do the move, and you have to not second guess it. And believe it or not, some people it is hard to hold a line, and it's not so much that they can't hold the line. It's that they're constantly overthinking, or they're constantly looking in the mirror and trying to line up with the car behind them versus just looking forward, let them do the pushing, and you focus on the car in front of you. And also knowing with this next gen car, like if your third car in line or fourth car in line and those cars in front of you are tucked up under each other, you don't need to be tucked up under them pushing as well. So it's I don't want to say it's easier or harder, but I think it's more of a mental game on a plate track of knowing what to do at the exact right moment to do it.
So, I don't know. One thing of the drafting tracks that you also have to have is the ability to know when things are going to go sideways. There was a couple times in the pack, and Whitley and I were together at one point that I was behind him and I just backed out. And I made the comment. I think we were coming out of 3 and 4. I said these guys are about to wreck, and going into 1 and 2, they wrecked. I mean, you have to things like that. You got to pay attention to as well. So
I'm as close to red as yellow can get. I think we all hinted at it as it takes a different skill set, but I think it's easier to get up to the front. Like it's easier to be competitive, but it is not much easier just by a smidge to win it, because if you're a good driver, like think about not trying to always praise him on here, but he is the best guy in our league in my opinion. Jordan Booth, like he dominates at 1.5 mile tracks for the most part, and he sets himself so far ahead of people that they're not going to compete. At a super speedway, like anybody can be right up there and really compete. So I will give you that, but I think to actually have what it takes to recognize the run, make the blocks, mirror drive, and all that, it does still take a very hard to learn skill set. So I don't think you can really downplay any type of win, really, especially in this league. And the last topic for Put It Out today is going to be road courses shouldn't stop at the stage breaks. You should just continue racing and count the points. And Vernon, I'll start with you.
I'm yellow. I'm indifferent because it does stack the field back up. It does give it a little more excitement. You make a mistake and you fall back 4 spots, and now all of a sudden we're restarting again, and those 4 spots are right in front of you. You have an opportunity to gain that back and potentially gain more. I'm yellow because of that only. Outside of that, I do think they should go green. Or green, we shouldn't stop for stages because, it is a road course. You get things bunched back up, and people are going to full send turn 1, and you're going to end up with even more chaos than when it does get spread out.
Corey?
Leave it alone. I'll basically just say that. That way, because everyone's all about this whole excitement and drama and all that stuff. Go ahead and bunch them off to where they have some guy 3 rows back just goes and kills the dominant cars, and then there you are. So, honestly, yellow flag. I don't give a shit really. It don't matter either or on that, because we've seen eliminating the stages how it worked out last year. I mean, I guess from a fan's perspective, it was not fun at all. Now, if you was driving it, then you're just in that motion of just hitting your marks, running your line, all that. But which I don't care either way. Is what it is. So I give it yellow.
Michael, what are your thoughts on it?
Green flag. Stop throwing the freaking cautions. I don't think we should throw a caution for any stages. I mean, God, man, let them run. If we take the caution flags out of the stages, we're not fuel miles racing. In real life, on the sim, anything. You're running it till it's empty, you're filling it back up. Stop throwing the caution. I understand. We want an entertainment, and NASCAR's in the entertainment business, but daggone it, man, stop. You had it right with the road courses where we just gave stage points. And then last year, I think it was before we went to Watkins Glen, or the Roval. I think it was the Roval. They were like, oh, we're going to throw cautions now on stages. Why? I'd stop doing that.
And Tony, what do you think on it?
I'm green flag now that Michael stole my thunder. Green flag. We don't need to throw the caution anywhere. Like Michael said, you get rid of the fuel mileage racing if you're not throwing the caution at the stage. From a fan's perspective, it may not always be the most interesting race, but driving it's a whole different level or a whole different strategy. I don't think just give the points at the stage and keep them green.
I am yellow. Kind of indifferent. I like the action of being stacked up, but road courses, there's just so much strategy to it that I wish that you could see that all play out. But then if you're going to open that can of worms, that goes right to you two talking about why do it anywhere at that point. So I'll stay yellow on that one. And moving on to Fast Facts. This week, Whitley, rather than listening to me ask somebody else while you're co-hosting, you get to be the star of the show. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I just want you to answer them.
All right.
All right, man. How old are you?
I am 32. I'll be 33 in October.
32. And where are you from?
Well, I'm from Hopewell, Virginia, but right now I live in Chesterfield, Virginia, home of Denny Hamlin. I'm about 7 minutes from Southside Speedway where he cut his teeth racing.
Are you a Denny Hamlin fan?
No.
Oh, thank the Lord. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't have to kick you from my server. So that's good.
Okay. I'll say I'm a Denny Hamlin fan, like I'm a junior fan. I like them outside of racing.
He's grown on me, especially since he made his, started podcasting. But I don't know. I think the sport is just perfectly right with him and Kyle Busch being villains. But I find myself rooting more and more for Kyle Busch nowadays too. So.
I think it's because he sucks right now. Everybody just wants him to win.
Yeah, last few races though, he's been starting to put it together. I'm really hoping he can grab a win before the end of the year. So, back to you though. What do you do for a living?
So I work in sports medicine. I'm an athletic trainer. I spent my first 5 years out of college at a high school level working. Then I went 3 years tactical working with Chesterfield Police, Fire, EMS, and Sheriff. And then the last year, I'm an athletic trainer on a construction site. So I take care of injuries, keep injuries on site, keep recordables down. And enjoy sitting around and not doing anything. A lot of my job is hurry up and wait. And normally if I'm working, that means something's gone wrong. So the less I can work, the better.
So just out of curiosity, have you ever thought about trying to do anything with NASCAR or a race team, or are you not close enough?
I've looked into it. So Ortho Carolina has the motorsports division for most of NASCAR. Yeah, they've got PTs, athletic trainers, strength coaches, nutritionists, everything. And I've looked into it, before. Ultimately, if a job came knocking, I wouldn't say no. But then at the same time, that traveling, that's a lot of traveling. right now, I work 12-hour days, but I only work 4 days a week, and I'm home every night. I don't know if I could do it where I'm on the road.
Yeah, that makes things tough, especially with family. Speaking of which, tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so married. We've married 5.5 years now. Got a daughter, 3-year-old daughter, who keeps us busy. She's nonstop, go, 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 go. From the time her feet hit the floor in the morning till they go to bed at night. But yeah, it's just us 3.
3, that's a fun age, man, and a very, very fun age.
Oh yeah, she's learning. She's getting into stuff. It's a lot of fun.
It's just so cool every time they start saying something new or doing something new. It's like, where did you pick up on that? Where did you learn that? It's just so cool watching them grow.
Oh yeah.
How'd you get into iRacing?
So I got into iRacing long before a lot of y'all and a lot of people that have been on this show. I actually got on back with Corey sometime 2015, I think, was my first year on there. I got on. I forgot what it was. I think I bought a computer or something, or no, I bought a wheel to play Project Cars. And when that came out, because Project Cars was going to be the next best Gran Turismo, so I bought a wheel, Logitech G29, to be able to play that, and got to talking, and they're all like, "Hey, you should get on and race iRacing." So I reached out to Corey, reached out to Eric Mickey, another guy that had raced with us for a while that I raced back on Gran Turismo 5 with, and I was like, "Hey, what do I need to do?" And they told me what I needed to do. I started out on a laptop, and then worked my way on up from there.
And I'll say this: when I was racing, back then when I had a truck team, Whitley was my first ever driver I had for my team back then. So that's
Yep.
a special place in my heart right there.
Yep.
How'd he race for you?
He was pretty good. I mean, like I was say like if I was top 5, he was in the top 10. And there have been a few occasions where he would smack my hind end too. So he wasn't no slouch at all.
And this was an open set league too.
Yeah.
Racing
Yeah.
against guys from pro set teams.
Yeah. And we did pretty well. We brought home a championship.
Yeah.
Were you in any of the LMP2 racing like Corey?
No, I never. So Gran Turismo 5, that was really kind of the first cut into online racing, and I was terrible. I mean, my tag when you used to log into the room, you used to have a tag that would pop up. It was bringing up the rear. I couldn't do anything. I didn't know what I was doing on the road course. I didn't have a clue. So I never really got into it much until the last about 2-3 years. Started racing some road stuff and kind of learning a little bit more. But no, I don't do none of that LMP2 stuff.
What kind of setup are you rocking when you're racing?
So I'm kind of like Vernon and Booth here. I'm in a rolly chair. Got Thrustmaster T300 Gran Turismo wheel, single monitor, 30-inch curved, ultra wide, and then I run a small monitor underneath for all my like telemetry stuff. And then I just built a computer in January. So I've got a pretty beefy computer. I got a 4070 Ti, 64 gigs of RAM, plenty of power. I think I got 2 terabytes of solid state, 6 terabytes of hard drive. I basically built a tank.
Jeez, do you play anything else? Because that would be amazing on some first-person shooter games or some open-world games. I couldn't imagine having a beefy computer like that.
Yeah, I play a lot of. So I like online games, but I'm also one that I like playing by myself. I like solo games. So I play a lot of Fallout 4, a lot of farming sim, just kind of stuff I can play alone. I love Assassin's Creed games. Those are some of my favorite. That whole series is one of my favorites of all time. I don't do much first person shooter anymore. I was a big Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3 guy, and I just don't do it anymore. It's got to the point now. to succeed in those games, you have to play constantly, and I don't do that.
All right, I've got 2 more questions for you. I want to know, what is your favorite Assassin's Creed, and why is it Revelations? Just kidding, but that's mine. But what is your favorite Assassin's Creed?
It's a toss up. Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 4 were fantastic. I think Black Flag though takes the cake. That's been my favorite. The graphics and the just, I don't sound weird saying, but the beauty of that game.
Oh, you can get so immersed in it. I mean, you can spend a whole day, like a whole 8-10 hour day playing video games,
Yeah.
and you feel like you've never seen the same thing twice.
Yeah, no, the way they did Black Flag was just absolutely amazing, and it just the visuals were unbelievable. So I would have to say 4.
I was really big into Ezio's character, so I really liked 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. I always really
No,
liked this.
the original trilogy definitely is, it's special. I've played the remaster. I played the original and the remastered. Yeah, I've played every game. It's just it is hard just to beat. The 3 Assassin's Creed 3, you saw that they were starting to get those good graphics and good engine. 4 just blew it out the water. Quite literally.
Pun intended. And then the last question I have for you is, if you're not in the racing sim, you're not sitting in that chair, or you're not playing other video games, what hobbies do you have?
So like everybody else, I play golf. I was kind of a late starter into it. I got into it in 2021. My mom's boyfriend got me into it, and I just kind of got hooked on it. But I play. Being in Virginia, I get the opportunity to play year round. So I love playing in on Sundays in the fall and winter because ain't nobody else out there. Go out there and play 9 holes by myself and never see a person. But my main hobby, my true hobby, is hunting. I love, from time October hits till January, it's all about hunting. Whether I'm sitting in a tree stand or we're down on the ground, we're burning the woods up with dogs. It's hunting season's that's my passion.
I'm really glad we could get to know more about you. I mean, I like getting to know about everybody that we have on this show, but the stuff that you do for this league, put your own time into it. We all appreciate it, and not only do you give us a good product each week, but now I get to even know a little bit more about you. So thanks for letting us dive into your life a little bit, man.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate it.
So before we break down this week's coming up race, we're going to go over the playoff bubble. Just like last week, I'm going to run you through the scores. I'll try to be as quick as I can. In first place in playoff standings, you have Michael Whitley. After winning this week's race, he is locked into the round of 12. Next, you have Jordan Booth in second place. He is plus 81 to the cut line. Followed up by Corey Bunch, plus 38. Jordan Wenzel, plus 33. Tyler Lem, plus 24. Alex Forget Berube, plus 21. Vernon Broadbeck, plus 20. Garrett Walden, plus 13. Alex Murphy, plus 12. Tony Japs, plus 11. Ty Bostic, plus 10. Erik Jeffers is rounding out the 12 that are currently set to move forward at plus 7. Currently below the line, you have Simon Magin in 13th. He is 7 below the cut line, followed by Martin Giroux at minus 9 to the cut. Jacob Mossow, minus 12 to the cut. And lastly, you have Brendan Hayes, minus 13 to the cut. That rounds out your 16 current playoff drivers. Corey, is there anybody that stands out to you that you thought they were going to have a better start to this first round?
Well, Willie has a great start because he won.
Yeah, go screw yourself. Oh, you missed your elbow be out in the first round. Yeah, go screw yourself.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was one of the 4 people I had out in the first round, and as Whitley's proud of, he showed me up. So
Dang, teammate can't even back his own teammate.
Well, my plan is to give my teammates a bunch of crap, so maybe then they'll lit a fire in their ass and be better, and it seemed to work for Whitley for the most part. So now we just get Erik to quit screwing around and wrecking people on the last lap. Might be able to have him finish better and get a win as well.
Whitley, same question to you. Is there anybody that stands out to you as having an exceptional race or really surprised you by not putting up the performance you expected?
I definitely think Brendan's surprising, but Brendan's going through some family issues. Just everybody kind of be thoughts and prayers with him. He's got some home life stuff going on with his family and stuff like that. So it's understandable why he starting parked. But honestly, truthfully, and I mean, he's on the show. I mean, Tony, man. I mean, I just I expected that Tony luck on a super speedway to come into play where he kind of got himself caught in something or ended up wrecking somebody else and killing the field. But I mean, he brought it home. What, P6? I mean, that's
P5.
P5. I mean, that's a very good one. And then Ty, being up there as well, having a good solid run.
You took the words right out of my mouth with talking about Tony having a solid run. I think we all know Tony's capable of putting together good races. He's shown that before, but not necessarily a rough last 5 races, but you've kind of been battling with the cut line, and then you didn't necessarily soar yourself above the cut line. You're only sitting +4, Tony, but a P5 finish at Atlanta is nothing to turn your cheek at. That was a heck of a race that you put together.
We just wanted to go out and get 20 points. All we really needed to do was get 20 points, and we did it. So, no, thank you.
Does anybody stand out to you there, Tony?
I didn't have Michael advancing, and I'm glad he won. I think that the next couple rounds, the next 2 rounds, play kind of into Michael's wheelhouse. Erik being right there on the cut line, that's going to be tough. If Erik has a bad Watkins Glen or something happens to him at Bristol, he could find himself outside the cut. So, but and then like we all said, Brendan's got some family stuff going on. So hopefully he can come back and win one of the next 2 races.
I knew nothing about the personal life issues. I stepped away last year for something very similar for pretty much, I don't know, what would you say, Vernon? Probably the last 2/3 of the year.
Yeah, it was pretty
So-
depressing. Not getting to race with you.
I completely understand that, and I don't know what's going on, but we all wish you the best, Brendan. So hopefully everything works out well with that. Now, Vernon, as we're moving towards Watkins Glen, talking about these ones near the cut line, so we're kind of talking Murphy in 9th all the way down to Brendan in 16th. How do you think Watkins Glen is going to go for these guys?
Well, I don't think I raced Watkins last year. I might have.
Yes, you did.
I don't know. I did.
Yeah, because I beat you on pit strategy.
Oh yeah, I was in it with I think Mark and Dro. I think.
It was me, you, and Martin were together.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
right. And
leapfrogged y'all.
I pitted with Martin, and then we got the battling, and then because we were battling, you pitted after us, and you came out. Yeah, I remember that. That was some.
You finished 8th.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I had a top 5 car. Leave me alone. Murphy's good there. I mean, he's good at any road course, really. He just avoid the first lap chaos, and I think he'll be fine. Tony, I feel like you say you're pretty good at walk-ins. I'd have to pull up what you did there last year. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure.
Last year I started P11 and I finished P11.
So you're pretty consistent. I'd like to, first say, Brandon, hopefully everything gets better for you and your family. I'd like to see you show up to Watkins Glen and be able to propel yourself out of, a hole. Whitley, I never really had a doubt about you and your cut line issues and potentially
Thanks.
leave you
Unlike
out of the
certain
playoff.
people.
You just had a rough stretch, and I figured you rebound. So congrats on that win. Garrett's an interesting one. Feel like he should be okay if he can avoid the first lap incidents. To practice today, he had decent lap time runs. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. You get to racing somebody, and the next thing you know, you're going through the S's side by side, and that's probably about the most difficult part of the track to go side by side through. The S's, because you carry a little too much speed and you're off that line a little bit too much, and next thing you know, you're pushing up towards the wall or the grass, and anything. It's not a good situation to be in. So, honestly, just anything can happen. These guys are good at what they do. They're in a playoff for a reason. Hopefully, we all make it clean to a race, and may the best drivers advance.
Tony, you've got an average position at road courses of 16.6. It's not your best style of racing. So how are you feeling coming in towards Watkins Glen?
I'm feeling decent. If I can get on my own little bubble, sort of like Michael, I think that we can have a pretty decent day and keep all four tires on the pavement, keep the nose pointed straight. We'll be all right. Watkins Glen is probably my best road course. I can drive Watkins Glen with my eyes shut. We've raced Watkins Glen going back to the PlayStation 4 days. Many laps at Watkins Glen. So I like the track. I think it's a fun track. I'm looking forward to seeing what Thursday brings.
And Whitley, as we're looking once again at this bubble for the drivers right around the cut, I'm curious if you kind of out statistician me or not, because you're pretty good with numbers, but let's see your thoughts on how this is going to work for these guys.
Yeah. Simon, I think, is going to point himself in. Simon's very good on road courses, much like Murphy. And honestly, it would not surprise me if Alex Murphy goes out there and wins. He had at this point last year, I think he had 3 wins already, maybe 4. Finished second to former league member Jai, who was an excellent road course racer as well. It's one of those. It's my worry is that even kind of bringing Garrett into it, that 8th to 12th on, I like, or even almost up to Vernon. I mean, a bad Watkins Glen for Vernon, get wrecked early, no stage points. He could very well be on the edge going into Bristol, where it's just unknown. It's hard to pick who's gonna fall out, but I think Brendan can get himself back in. I think Mossow might struggle a little bit. I think Martin might struggle a little bit, and then I think Ty and Tony are gonna fall out.
I can see that.
You nailed it right on the head with Simon and Murph being excellent at road courses. They are number 1 and 2 for average position. Out of this group, they're number 1 and 2. Talking about Walden and below. So you're talking 8th through 16th. Do you know who's third? Any guesses there, Whitley?
Mossow, maybe?
Going to be Erik Jeffers. Average position of 9.2, and then 4th is Jacob
Damn.
Mossow. I think if you're looking at the stats, I think most likely to drop back is going to be Ty Bostic with an average position of 17.9. But just like you, I see a really big day from Simon Magin and Alex Murphy, really kind of, pushing themselves hopefully well past that cut line. The ones that I see having a tough time, it's going to be Garrett, got an average running position of 13.0 on road courses. Tony, hate to tell you, average position of 16.6, and then Ty Bostic 17.9. Now, things like incidents and crashes can affect those, and not every road course runs the same. But if the trends stay the same, that's what I'm going to see. And then usually for the road course races, like last week, I let you pick 3 people you think you're going to win. Road courses, I think we're all going to pick the same person. So we'll say it on 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Wenzel.
Murphy.
Jordan Wenzel.
Shocker.
Murphy.
We're gonna pick the next best person that you think has a chance to win. And I'm gonna start with the guest, Michael Whitley.
Yeah, I'm going with the guy who finished second last year, won a road course race last year. I'm going with Alex Murphy.
Vernon, who are you taking?
Well, I mean, you guys all said Wenzel, and I said Murphy, so I'm going with Murphy.
Oh, I thought you were saying that after fact.
No. You guys said we're gonna say on 3 who we think's gonna win this race, and you guys all said Wenzel, and I said Murphy. I think it's Murphy. Jordan finished 5th or 4th. One of the two.
To be fair, he does have an average running position or average finish
Right.
position.
I get
this year.
that, but lap times at the Glen, there are 5 guys, and Jordan didn't even have the fastest lap time last year.
Jordan also wasn't as good of a road racer as he has.
Yeah, I get that, but
Right.
you got to look at it. There were 6 guys on that list last year that had lap times in the 111 and low 111 range.
Jordan Wenzel had the second fastest lap time last year.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I'm very well aware. I looked at it.
Yeah.
But Murphy finished second, and he was 2/10 off fastest lap times.
Wenzel's gonna walk the field. I'm calling it now.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Maybe, who knows? I would love a surprise.
Like I said, if Murphy can make it through turn 1, if he can make it through turn 1, lap 1, I think it'll be a dogfight between those two.
I would love to see it. I think it'd be great. I wish it was broadcasted. I love road course races. I kind of wish it was broadcasted, but I'm seeing Wenzel winning it, and I'm seeing Corey taking that road course experience to either second place or maybe a first if Wenzel makes a mistake. Corey, you taking yourself?
No. I have a better chance of taking the toaster in the bathtub and not getting electrocuted than finishing second. I'm going with Murphy.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Berube, Alex Forget.
He has an average running position of 13.9, so that would be a pretty big outlier. But
If I remember correctly, didn't he win the Roval last year?
No.
Oh,
It was he should not be named.
when he
It was
a
between
contender?
him and no. It was him and
Oh.
Jai.
Well, I'm putting faith in him. Damn it.
Well, we're about done with the show this week. Before we close it out, is there anything that anybody wants to add?
Hey, I do. Next week, get your cartoon paint schemes done. We're going special paint scheme racing again at Bristol, Cartoon Week. Looking forward to it. I know there's a awesome rocket power car that's going to be hitting the track, and an Ed and Eddie car. Pixar, and then a Wild Thornberries might be making an appearance as well.
Who's running that one?
That would be Mr. Tony Japs.
Mm-hmm.
Whitley, did you make that hot lap paint scheme?
I did.
He did.
That was pretty damn beautiful.
I look forward to debuting my car at Bristol.
Yep.
I'm excited to see them all. We always
Hey.
have good turnouts for those.
Are we
No,
running
they're fun.
Are we running cartoons on everything that weekend?
You can if you want to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I've enjoyed it. We have a lot of paint scheme races coming for next year. We're gonna throw up some polls at the end of the year just to get some vibes. You know, looking at maybe some casino nights, Miami nights, some sports themed stuff. So we got a lot of good engaging things coming next year down the pipeline.
Oh, look at that. So Vegas night, I would definitely get the polls ready.
Yeah.
Whitley, if you wouldn't be opposed to this, maybe we could find a race where the 4 of us, or even if you're an honorary co-host at this point and guest, all run that hot lap scheme. Just find a race that we all want to run it.
Yeah.
I love the traction this thing's had so far. We've had anywhere from like 40 to like 65, 70 listeners each week. So those of you listening and your family members, we all appreciate the listens each and every week. And it's been pretty customary each week I close this out. But Whitley, you've been a co-host twice now and the guest, and I'll let you close out the show.
I guess. Well, thank y'all for listening, guys. This has been the Hot Lap Podcast, and we will catch y'all next week.
See?
Holla.